Ready? Sitting. We, vol- we welcome Honorable Chief Minister, legendary Nobel laureates, and other dignitaries in Dinanath Mangeshkar Kala Mandir.
His curiosity, inquiry and experimentation personified India's scientific capability. In 1930, when C.V. Raman became the first Indian to win the Nobel Prize in Physics, his curiosity, inquiry and experimentation personified India's scientific capability. Since then, Indian minds have continued to shape global advances in science and technology. Today, as India rises into the fastest growing economy of the world, science research and innovation will undoubtedly define the next phase of its growth. What are the new models of science education that can meet the aspirations of a nation? How can India create an enabling environment for breakthrough research? How can science become an instrument of change in India and around the globe? The second Nobel Prize series in India initiates a shared dialogue in response to these questions. We welcome some of the world's foremost scientific minds amongst us today. Professor Christiane Neuslein-Walhard studied fruit flies, and her discovery of genetic control of early embryonic development was revolutionary in the field of medicine. Professor Thomas Lindahl's mechanistic study of DNA damage and repair increased our understanding of how living cells works, causes of cancer, and aging processes. Professor Richard J. Roberts made the discovery of split genes and demonstrated the division of RNA, highlighting the potential of genes to form different number of proteins. Professor Serge Haroche studied photons in his famous ion trapping experiment, and his groundbreaking experimental methods enable measuring and manipulation of individual quantum systems. So let us inquire, engage, and explore. Nobel Prize Series, India 2018.
शृणुयात् तुझो घडियो 350 घोडियो रथात कोण देव बसे गे रथात कोण देव बसे गे रथा तुझो घडियो 350 घोडियो रथात कोण देव बसे गे रथात कोण देव बसे गे रथात बसे शारदा माता माणार खेळून आल्या गे माणार खेळून आल्या गे रथात बसे शारदा माता माणार खेळून आल्या गे माणार खेळून आल्या गे पधारो मारो देश मारो देश मारो देश
पधारो म्हारो देश देश रे पधारो म्हारो देश केसरिया बालमा मोरा पधारो म्हारो देश देश रे पधारो म्हारो
আমার প্রাণের মানুষ আছে প্রাণে তাই হেরে তাই সকল খানে প্রাণের মানুষ আছে প্রাণে তাই হেরে তাই সকল খানে আছে সে নয়ন তারায় আছে সে নয়ন তারায় আলোক নারায় তাই না হারায় অগ তাই দেখি তাই যে তাই সে তাই তাকায় আমি যেদিক প্রাণে প্রাণের মানুষ আছে প্রাণে তাই হেরে তাই সকল খানে প্রাণের মানুষ আছে প্রাণে তাই হেরে তাই সকল খানে इथे शांतीचा गंध दरवळे सूर्यक्रांतीची ज्वाळा इथे शांतीचा गंध दरवळे सूर्यक्रांतीची ज्वाळा
आकाशाचे निळे पाखरू भिडते आभाळाला आकाशाचे निळे पाखरू भिडते आभाळाला
लक्ष करानी असा
Invocation song was presented by the artists of Goa College of Music, Kala Academy and Department of Art and Culture, Government of Goa under the direction of Shri Mayuresh Vast. What a marvelous depiction of our Mother India in a gist. A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to one and all. I look around the audience and am in awe with the collected expertise gathered here. We are deeply honored to welcome Honorable Chief Minister, all the Nobel laureates, Chairman of Nobel Foundation, and all the other dignitaries in Dinanath Mangeshkar Kala Mandir. A tiny part of India, Goa enjoys abundant beauty of myriad splendor in terms of enchanting landscape, skyscape, seascape, hills clothed in perennial verdure, beaches, cathedrals, temples, heritage mansions of immense architectural grandeur, and so on. The Goa has its own glory too, in the ambience surrounding its history, culture, and heritage stretching backwards to antiquity. Goa is a land of sun, sand, and spirituality. And now, Honorable Chief Minister wishes to add one more aspiration that Goa should be the land for science, of science, and should be known for its scientific endeavors. And today's venture is an assurance that this dream has started turning into the reality. The Department of Science and Technology, Government of Goa, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, Nobel Media AB Sweden, Nobel Museum, 3M, Ericsson, Scania, Volvo, Embassy of Sweden, New Delhi, Consulate General of Sweden in Mumbai, Advance, Cipla, Deccan, Glenmark brings us this most memorable, most cherishable, and very, very special event. I request Secretary, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, Professor K. Vijay Raghavan, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Goa, Shri Daulat Havaldar, to escort the dignitaries on the dais. Honorable Chief Minister, Government of Goa, Shri Manohar Parrikar, Nobel Laureate, Professor Richard Roberts, Professor Serge Arosh, Professor Thomas Lindahl, Professor Christiane Neuseline Volhard, Chairman of Nobel Foundation, Professor Karl-Henrik Heldin, CEO Nobel Media, Dr. Matthias Furenius, CEO Nobel Museum, Olav Emelin, Consul General of Sweden to Goa, Ulrika Sundbaris, and request to Professor K. Vijay Raghavan and Shri Daulat Havaldar to occupy the chairs on the dais. Please join me in giving our guests the best of cordial welcomes. In fact, it's an honor more than a pleasure to welcome you all over here. I request Professor K. Vijay Raghavan, Secretary of Department of Biotechnology, India, to give welcome address.
Honorable Chief Minister of Goa, Shri Manohar Parrikar ji, all our assembled guests who are being hosted by the Government of Goa, Shri Havaldar, Ulrika Sonberg, Matthias Furenius, Serge Harosh, Christian Nusslein Follard, Karl-Henrik Heiden, who's the head of the Nobel Foundation, which awards all the prizes. So if you want a prize, you must be nice to him. Rich Roberts, Tom Lindahl, and Ole Alsen from the Nobel Museum. It is a great pleasure and an honor for all of us to be hosted by all of you in this hall filled with young people, teachers, and students from all over Goa and all over India. People sometimes ask, why And why is Goa holding this great festival of science? And what does Goa expect from this, being such a small state? And your Chief Minister has answered this very beautifully to say that if he's given a place to rest his lever, then he can move anything. And Goa is such a wonderful place to influence the whole world. It is such a place because in today's planet, where sustainable development is very important, where the safety of the planet and the future of the planet is in human hands, where science and technology needs to work intertwined with society to make changes, a place like Goa, which is beautiful, which has intellectual depth, which has several leading scientific institutions, can be transformative beyond its small size. It can be the place where the best from all over the country, from all over the world come, and their ideas incubated in this beautiful environment can be instrumental in changing our ways in which our industry, our economy, our agriculture, our energy systems, and our basic science needs to thrive. For all of this to happen, if the Chief Minister's lever has to work, it needs a strong fulcrum. And that strong fulcrum is the future of science. And it is that future which our inspiring laureates bring to us. Our inspiration comes not by imitating them, but by emulating their spirit of adventure. So it is that kind of questioning which they had, which has transformed science and technology all over the world, and that's what we want to learn about. So to do that, we have a wonderful museum here from the Nobel Museum, which has a component of the famous Nobel Museum in Stockholm. We also have a museum which, an exhibition which covers Indian science and technology, and that will be constantly updated. And both these museums will stay for a long time in Goa and go around. The Indian Museum will go all around Goa too. So with that, I'd like to thank you again for having us all here. Thank the Chief Minister and the Government of Goa for hosting this, and all my colleagues at the Department of Biotechnology and the Government of India, which have put in all this work. And we look forward to a really exciting day tomorrow and several weeks of the museum and its interactions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this warm and informative welcome. With equal pleasure, I invite Chairman of Nobel Foundation, Professor Karl-Henrik Heldin, to say a few words. Let me tell you all, Professor Karl is visiting such Nobel Prize series for the first time, and it happened to be Nobel Prize Series India 2018, and especially Goa. A big round of applause to him. Professor Karl-Henrik Heldin.
Dear Chief Minister Parikar, Your Excellencies, dear Nobel laureates, ladies and gentlemen, friends. On behalf of the Nobel Foundation, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome such a distinguished audience to the inauguration of the Nobel Prize Series India 2018 with the theme Science Impacts Lives. As a scientist myself, I have always strongly believed in this theme and attitude. But now it is even more important than ever to empower this concept when we see what is happening in the world around us. I know we have a unique number of days to look forward to, and it pleases me to get to meet so many people here, especially students and teachers, that share the same passion for knowledge as myself. And I dare say, as the man behind the Nobel Prize, Alfred Nobel. Alfred Nobel, the founder of the Nobel Prizes and a great scientist and entrepreneur himself, understood that good role models, people and organizations, can demonstrate that it is possible to understand the world and to improve it. And it is in this spirit that we organize events such as this. We wish to facilitate societal engagement in the areas of Nobel's interest, in science, in literature, and the promotion of world peace. We often do this with the help of Nobel laureates. Today we have as many as 4 of you here. Thank you very much for coming. India is the world's largest democracy and one of the fastest growing economies in the world. That in itself gives India a unique position, and I can only express my sincere admiration for the progress you're achieving and to give my strong support and best wishes for future success. Science impacts lives, we say, and to reach good results we all need resources. So I can only encourage you to invest even more in the areas close to our heart: research, science, teachers, and schools. Those investments will pay off for Goa, for India, and for the world. I was especially glad to hear Prime Minister Modi's words in Davos last week. He emphasized that India has always seen the domestic and global as mutually reinforcing and inseparable parts of the same organic arrangement. The challenges we face, both as scientists and as humanity, are truly global. And I just cannot emphasize enough the need for us all, scientists and others, to have a truly global approach when we are searching for the solutions to our problems, some of which may even be solved by a future Nobel Prize laureate. Again, thank you so much for attending this inauguration, and thank you, Government of Goa, Department of Biotechnology, and our Nobel International partners for making this fantastic event possible together with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this remarkable speech. I'm pleased to invite CEO of Nobel Museum, Olav Emelin, to deliver his speech.
Thank you very much. Chief Minister, Honorable Parikar, Your Excellencies, Nobel laureates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this opening of the exhibition, The Nobel Prize Ideas Changing the World. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. I think these words by Rabindranath Tagore wonderfully express the message we want to convey to you here in Goa. And indeed, it is a fantastic poem that both Amartya Sen and Subramaniam Chandrasekhar referred to when they received their Nobel Prizes. Tagore was the first Indian to be awarded the Nobel Prize in 1913. Since then, Indian scientists, writers, and peace workers have been awarded the prize in all categories. And I'm sure that there will be more Indian Nobel laureates in the future, because India is a country that understands the importance of education on all levels. That's the reason we are here today. Nobel laureates have been honored with a fantastic prize because they have proven that they can push the limits of what we can know and achieve. In many cases, their discoveries and work have changed the way we live our daily lives. That is what our exhibition, The Nobel Prize Ideas Changing the World, is about. It is also an exhibition with a very positive and optimistic message. The problems humanity faces today will be tackled and ultimately solved. A few of the individuals involved in that work will be future Nobel laureates. And who knows? One of them might be a former student from Goa who was inspired by an exhibition she once saw. The overall theme for this Nobel Prize Series event, Science Impacts Lives, might sound like a truism. But today we have to fight for knowledge-based decisions and policies in the most unexpected places. India has a long and strong education tradition. It's therefore not surprising that we organize events and exhibits like this one opening tonight here in Goa. These activities are meant to inspire and present role models. The work done by Nobel laureates shows that what might seem impossible in the end can turn out to be the starting point for a breakthrough. So, dear audience, I hope you will enjoy what we bring to you, and if you don't, and if the exhibition, if you don't learn anything from the exhibition, if you don't learn anything new from the exhibition, I hope that you've been able to ask more clever questions. There are a number of people I would like to thank at this point. Of course, I would like to thank the Honorable Chief Minister Parekar, but I also want to stretch out to thank you to Dr. Vijay Raghavan. Without you, this would not have happened. Now, during this Nobel Prize event, we have a special focus on teachers and teaching. Tomorrow, a Nobel Teacher Summit is being organized. Teachers are doing one of the most important jobs in society, inspiring young people to understand the importance of knowledge, whatever path they choose later in life. So I hope some of you will attend that. And I'd like to finish with a few more sentences from Tagore's brilliant poem. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this influential speech. This is very important and proud moment for all of us, for having the great legendary Nobel laureates amongst us. To make it more memorable and special, I now request Honorable Chief Minister Shri Manohar Parrikar to present the mementos and a book, Goa Remembered, so that all the dignitaries cherish the memories of Goa and this program forever. To all the esteemed guests on the dais. Professor Richard Roberts. Professor Sir Jarosh. Professor Thomas Lindahl. Professor Christiane Nieuwselein Volhard. Chairman of Nobel Foundation, Professor Karl-Henrik Heldin. CEO Nobel Media, Dr. Matthias Ferenues. CEO Nobel Museum, Olav Emelin. Consul General of Sweden to Goa, Ulrika Sundbares. Consul General of Sweden to Mumbai. Professor K. Vijay Raghavan, Secretary, Department of IT. Shri Daulat Havaldar, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Goa. Thank you, Honorable Chief Minister. Now I request Shri Daulat Havaldar to present a memento and a book to Honorable CM. Sir, kindly accept this memento. I request Dr. Matthias Ferenius, CEO of Nobel Media, to present a memento to Honorable CM on behalf of Nobel Media. Thank you, Dr. Matthias. Ladies and gentlemen, we rarely get this opportunity to listen to the words of great knowledgeable speaker. I invite one of the Nobel Laureate in the field of developmental biology, embryology, and genetics, Professor Christiane Nieuwselein Volhard, to address the gathering.
Welcome. It's a great pleasure to be here, and I'm delighted that I came here and will speak. I mean, I will not give a real speech. I just would like to address you and welcome you on behalf of the Nobel laureates who are here today. I was very impressed by this wonderful, spectacular, welcoming ceremonies which we met here when we came to this site, and then by the exhibition, which is new to me. And I also visited the part which displays Indian science, which was really very, very, very interesting and worth looking at. I'm speaking on behalf of the 4 Nobel laureates here who came from the United States, Rich Roberts, Serge Haroche from France, Thomas Lindahl from Sweden, and myself from Germany. When I visited this exhibition, it became clear that what the Nobel Foundation showed us was more or less how science changed the world, and in examples of Nobel laureates who made great discoveries, which later led to very important technology and development and improving medicine. I myself have been motivated by a different desire. Namely, I was always driven by simple curiosity to understand the world around me. Already as a small child, I looked at plants and animals and wanted to understand how they worked and how they were composed and how they developed. And I think this is something which should be pointed out, that science is not always directly aimed at improving mankind. And the discoveries which we have been demonstrating were not often not in the first instance meant to improve mankind, or as Nobel formulated it himself, to benefit, to celebrate those which benefited humankind. I think basic research should be pointed out as a very important part of science, where it's not directly aimed at discovering something helping in medicine or in agriculture or in technology, but just to understand complicated issues in biology have been quite important as the fundamental research, which then later often led to important medical discoveries. In my case, it was understanding how a simple unstructured egg would develop to a complex organism, and we discovered a number of genes which are really very crucial for that. And it turned out later, and this was not our own doing, it was just turned out that this basic research led to the discovery of many genes which also are required, are also involved in development of higher organisms, including men, and several of those are not just important for development, but also for growth and have a role in cancer. And in the meantime, several drugs have been developed on the basis of these genes, and we had no knowledge of this, and we had no aim to do that. But it was very important that we did understand the principles, the fundamental development of one organism, in this case the fly. Presently I'm working on how fish get their colors and their patterns, because you know they're all very beautiful. And this again does not have an immediate impact, certainly not in any aspects which would foster medicine. But I'm convinced that when you work on a really important problem which is fundamental, it will eventually lead to something which will benefit mankind, in the sense of Alfred Nobel, who founded this prize. And in this sense, I would like to encourage you to follow your curiosity and do things and find and discover things which you are just curious about, and it will eventually perhaps lead to important improvements in the life of human beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for sharing your thoughts with us. We were indeed honored. I deem it a great privilege to request the mastermind behind this program, who grabbed this opportunity to organize such a significant Nobel Prize series in Goa, and who did everything possible, who left no stone unturned to make it happen and make it a grand, grand success. Honorable Chief Minister of Goa, Shri Manohar Parrikar. I request him to express his visionary words on this very special day. Honorable Shri Manohar Parrikar.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome on behalf of all of us, the people of Goa, the esteemed Nobel laureates on the dais to our beautiful state of Goa. I would like to begin with a Sanskrit. Asato ma satgamaya, tamoso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityur ma amrutogamaya. This is India. From ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light, and from death to eternity. This is a place which has always shown importance to knowledge, and in this place, beautiful place, I welcome you once again. We are indeed grateful for the opportunity to host this year's edition of Nobel Prize Series Goa, a small state with an important biodiversity hotspot of Western Ghat of India, and which has a strong scientific legacy of its own. Having produced eminent scientists like Sri D.D. Kosambe, Sri Raghunath Mashelkar, and Sri Anil Kakodkar, our government seeks to reinforce Goa's status as a scientific hub of India, with a strong focus on not only significantly strengthening scientific education in our state, but also promoting a scientific temperament across the state. To this effect, we are setting up 2 new education hubs in the state. We seek to develop the capacity of our human capital, most precious resource, into knowledge powerhouse that fuels our nation's growth and addresses our most critical development issues through innovation. We would like to assure this august gathering that we will ensure that we carry forward the momentum built by this event around the importance of breakthroughs in scientific research. As a first initiative in this direction, we would like to announce an annual Innovation in Science contest for all senior school and college students of Goa, where students will be invited to propose breakthrough research ideas which our government will support all the way through for a period of at least 1 year. We invite esteemed international scientists to help us choose and mentor chosen ideas, an exercise we will support for winners. Professor Haldin, we would also like to continue our engagement with the esteemed Nobel laureates, and I propose to the Nobel Foundation that we set up an annual Goa Nobel Lecture Series that my government will be very happy to support and organize. We want to make Goa the home to the next generation of Nobel laureates. This is literally, a lot of people come to Goa for settling. I know that my team has planned a series of interaction of visiting laureates with students, researchers, and teachers from around the country, and I urge all of you to take full advantage of these interactions. I also urge you all to take some time out of the busy schedule of these meetings to visit and enjoy our beautiful state of Goa, arguably the tourism capital of India. In conclusion, I would like to now thank all of you for your interest in science and participating in this very important event. I thank all the Nobel laureates and the chairman of Nobel Foundation for gracing this occasion with their presence and wish you all fulfilling series of science-filled days. I will like to end with the Upanishad saying that Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, means may all see what is auspicious and noble. May no one suffer in any way. May all be happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for this remarkable speech. And on this note, I invite Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Goa, Shri Daulat Havaldar, to propose vote of thanks.
Namaskar. It was, in fact, a Pirandello, a Nobel laureate in literature in 1934. He said that theater gives ideas, and these ideas give direction to the human life. In fact, these ideas serve the function of a compass in the confusing times. I thank the President of the Nobel Foundation, the Chairman Nobel Foundation, Professor Carl Henrik Heldin, who has come for this important function in India. I also thank Nobel laureate Richard Roberts. I thank Nobel laureate Thomas Lindahl. I thank Nobel laureate Sergei Harosh. I also thank Nobel laureate Christiana Nuslin Hollard. One of the important part of this inaugural function also was a Nobel Museum. I also thank the CEO Nobel Museum, the CEO Nobel Media. In fact, if you will be visiting the museum has a very important section on literature. And that's a very interesting section where they have kept the books of Nobel laureates also. There is one small rare photograph in that museum. That is of Beckett, a French dramatist. His first show of Waiting for a Godot in 1956, where after the show, he has posed himself. In fact, that museum is worth visiting even to see that photograph. I also thank Vijay Raghavan, the Secretary Government of India, who has taken a lot of efforts, a lot of visits he made to Goa to organize this event, and all his colleagues. In fact, I would like to thank the entire team of Nobel Lecture Series, which has come from Sweden. I have seen them interacting with the local officers and the local people. They are very humble, and they really want to do something for India and Goa. I especially thank Prasad Lolekar, and his team of officers, both officers and the non-officials here in Goa, who shared, in fact, the major burden of this entire program. In fact, when I came in the evening to the Kala Academy, a lot of people asked me whether there is a marriage in Kala Academy. I said there is no marriage, but then I imagined myself Prasad being the father of a bride. He was carrying that burden. I also thank the entire audience, particularly the students and the teachers who come in a big number. And I'm sure for the next 2 days also, this community, particularly the student, teacher, and the people of Goa who have responded to this important event. And I know these kind of important events takes time to unfold its impact. It will take some time, but this is the extremely good beginning. And most of all, I thank the Honorable Chief Minister of Goa, who in fact was instrumental, and he has taken a keen interest in organizing this event. And I have seen right from the beginning, most of the meetings pertaining to this were undertaken by him, and he saw that everything is in his place. I know his love for science and technology, and I hope that the Goan society will benefit from his love for science and technology. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Here we end the official inaugural function of Nobel Prize Series 2018 India. Tomorrow we shall have the great opportunity of having an interaction with these legendary Nobel laureates. After this, we shall have an interval for 15 minutes, which will be followed with Goa's best musicians who will perform for you all. Thank you. A kind request to all the dignitaries, kindly be there for a minute for a group photo. Group photo. Sangle.
Sir,